Welcome to the show that takes up no more than 5 minutes of your time, but could help you gain massive real estate knowledge. It's 5 Minutes in Real Estate with best-selling author Shane Willis.
Hello, Shane Willis, Pascal Real Estate Expert, bringing you today's episode. Starting to feel like fall out here. Got out for a run this morning early, and I was like, man, is it really only 70 degrees? Like it. We're not going to talk about the weather, though. Today I wanted to talk to you about, there's really two aspects that control a lot of real estate decisions right now. And we can go to the old adage of location, and that's true. I don't mean to put that to the side. Location is very key. I've got some people right now that were wanting to get out from their location, but just a little bit of patience, and I think we found them a spot right in their location, right? So location is there, and we definitely want to keep that in mind. But there's two major aspects of this that we've got to keep an eye on, and this is both buying and selling, because if you sell, typically you're going to have to buy something different. So you want to really pay attention to it. The first thing, and I really wanted to bring this up, and I'm going to put this in the show notes, is interest rates. Fannie and Freddie actually reported interest rates are the highest they've been in the year. They're 75% or 0.75% higher than they were at the beginning of the year. In the year, we saw a 4%. Now, rates as of this past week are at about 4.75. So if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I've been preaching that we're probably going to see 5 by the end of the year. Still think that's possible. Feds are still talking about raising rates again. So I still think that's possible. 5% by the end of the year. Now, how does that affect you? Well, it just affects if you're trying to stay in a budget. And I'm going to put up in the show notes what that 1% changes if you're buying a $200,000 house. It changes it a little bit. It could be changing $180, $200 and some odd dollars a month, depending on the purchase price that you have. And I don't want to sound like health insurance where it goes up that much. Seems like every quarter. Don't get me started on that. I just wanted to punch somebody when I got the new thing from Blue Cross this past week when they were talking about next year. I went, really? We're going to up the deductibles and we're going to up your premium. I'll figure something different out. Anyways, we're not talking about insurance today. Interest rates. Interest rates are definitely one of the two key factors that you need to pay attention to. What's the other one? The other I word, inventory. Inventory is still low. We are starting to see there was 38 months of declining inventory nationwide. The last 3, we've started to see a little bit of an increase nationwide. If you just listen to any of the podcasts, you know that I have said a 6-month inventory is considered a normal market. Anything over 6 months is starting to skew towards a buyer's market. Anything under 6 months is starting to skew towards a seller's market. Anything under 3 is skewing towards a hyper seller's market. Anything over 9 is considered a hyper buyer's market. We still, as we sit here and talk in October of 2018, have some price points that are under 3% inventory. Those same price points were under 1% inventory just a month or 2 ago. So we are starting to see some inventory come to the market, which is good. That's kind of what we need. That's been our problem for a very long time, is inventory problems. I've had some clients that have opted, they wanted to buy something this year so they could homestead it, but instead have opted to actually put contracts in on new builds, close. I got one closing in March. I got another one I just wrote yesterday, closing in May. So there's a lot that people are doing because they can't find the inventory. Morning! They can't find the inventory. They can't find what they're looking for. And since they have the time to wait, well, that makes sense. But that's starting to change a little bit. So as a seller, a lot of people like to wait till spring to put the market on, put their house in the market. You may want to consider this time of year. You may want to consider, as we're now, fourth quarter, want to start to enter the holiday season. There's not much inventory out there. So inventory is still low. people are still looking because they want to be able to close by December 31st so that they can homestead. And if you're one of the only games in town, there's a couple of neighborhoods that I know of that are highly desirable and not one house in there. Some that are for great rentals and not one house in there. I sit on a couple of homeowner association boards, and the neighborhoods that I own rentals in these neighborhoods, and there's not one available. So inventory and interest rates are really two factors you got to keep an eye on. As a seller, inventory is starting to rise, so you may not be able to cap out. But as a buyer, interest rates are also starting to rise. So even though we may have more inventory come spring or summer of next year, your interest rates may be higher, which means that you could probably afford just slightly less amount of value. Now, with the inventory rising, I did want to point this out. It's not rising to a point where it's going to outpace demand. That there's not one economic indicator that I have found that says supply is going to rise to outpace demand in 2019. There's not there. Demand is still extremely high. I've got buyers left and right now looking, hunting. I've sent some letters to a couple of neighborhoods going, listen, I have some people wanting to be in this condo complex. I have one right now that really wants a 3-bedroom in a townhome complex. Well, there's only 14 3-bedrooms in the whole complex. The rest of them are 2-bedrooms. I've reached out to every one of them going, is anybody considering selling? Because she wants to close by the end of the year. That's happening. Will it continue? Yeah. Does everybody want it? Does some people as sellers want to move over the holidays? Maybe not. I've also got one contract right now that they are closing in December. It's October something. They're closing December. And the owner, the current owner right now, we got a lease back. Meaning they're going to lease back until the end of January. They didn't want to move over the holidays. It's okay. The buyer kind of likes the idea because the buyer's getting stationed here middle of January. They get to own the property, turn the utilities on December 31st. Before December 31st, when they do get here, it's a homesteaded property. They live there. Makes all kinds of sense. So inventory, interest rates. Pay attention to both of those because both of those are key factors to both sides of this equation. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you hadn't subscribed to get the tips, tricks, graphs, infographics, take 5minutesinrealestate.com. That's 5minutesinrealestate.com. Also, get over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Shane Willis, the Realtor. Not plural. And finally, if you found any value in this or any other episode that we do me a favor, share it on social media. That helps me out some. It costs me some money to produce those, and I obviously don't ask for any money for doing them. I do ask, though, that you help me out by sharing it. Have a great Wednesday.